Hi everyone, it's Roberta from Roberta's Artistic Adventures. I'm back and I'm going to do a little bit of mixed media on this piece of paper, and I'm going to use some pink eraser and dip the Scotty dog and use it as a stamp and see how that works. I'm going to use this piece of this rubber matting that you put your knees on when you work out in the garden. You heat it with a heat tool, and then you put something over it. Like if I had heated this side and put this on it and mashed it in, it would have this imprint in reverse on this, and then I would be able to stamp. So this one I did with a punchinella, and it's not perfect. There's very little dimension to it, but I'm going to do a little stamping with that. With this one, and I'm using my Fun Stamper's Journey, the Black Licorice and Grape Fusion. And with this silicone, I'm going to use the Grape Fusion. And I have some Caribbean, some white, and some black, some drywall tape. This little on-off switch, it's actually for cool air on my blow dryer. I had taken it apart and got different parts. This one has like a little plus sign and then just this straight edge right here. If I dip it, I can get both of those marks. And then splatter with some of the paint. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this one. And it might have worked better if I had some sponge on the bottom, but that's okay. This is mixed media, and I'm trying to make things not look perfect. Okay, I think I have enough of that one. Now I'm going to go to Grape Fusion. Just get the rest of the ink off. Okay, that's it for the ink. And I like to wrap mine up with some rubber bands, because some of them in the drawer that I have, the tops come off, so that'll make sure the top stays on. Okay, I'm going to do pink with the Scotty dog. And actually, I think I need to dry the ink first, so let's do that. The Fun Stamper's Journey is a a different type of an ink, so it definitely does stay wet longer than a regular dye ink. It's, I'm not sure what it is. It's a fusion of a couple of different types of ink, so it's quite a bit different from your regular. I'm going to go ahead and roll this to help it to lay flat. Ah, I wasn't going to do that with this. I haven't used the Scotty Dog this way before, so I'm not really sure exactly how it's going to work. It should work just fine. I just don't want to have a lot on there. Yeah, I'm not getting the full. I think I need to press a little bit on the inside. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Much better. And these were actually ice cube trays that came with like 6 or 8. And I got this one, which is the Scotty Dog, but I also got teddy bears and little piggies. And so I've used them for a couple of different things. This is the first time I've actually used it as a stamp. And I need to find a way to, I think I'm going to use an old fingernail file. I'm going to use an old emery board, and I'm going to rub it to see if I make it rough so it'll pick up the ink better. I think I might as well just try that now. Let me get the rest of this off of here. And if I scrub it and give this side of the rubber some tooth, it should be able to pick up the paint better. Now I want to do the edges too. I want to make sure that the edges are going to be picking it up as well. And sometimes I do this on my acrylic stamps so that they can work better. Alright, so it's got some tooth on it now. Let's see how that works. I think it works better. Yeah, just some of the places on here that not as much of the acrylic paint. But the other thing that I've used this for is, and so you get the dendritic on there with the paint too, so that's pretty cool. I have used the paper egg crates, and I've torn them up, and then I've put them in my blender with a bunch of water after it's soaked for a while, and let it turn into like a papier-mâché. And then I've stuffed it inside of these ice cubes, the tray, the little shape, and been able to get the shape. And so I have little puppies and teddies and piggies that I've made out of these. Let's see, make this one go this way. Another one right there. I just have all this extra paint, so I'm just trying to use it. Alright. Now I need to let this dry. I'm going to clean up some of this acrylic paint. Now I'm going to go ahead and do some splatter with the white paint. So I know this is wet, but wet on wet, it's not going to really matter, and that way they can dry at the same time. I really love the look that splatter gives to my projects. I like the fine splatter and I like the big splatter. I just love the way splatter looks. I'm trying to make sure I get all the edges of it too. Okay. This is a project that I had done before I started doing this one. And I used the Tim Holtz Peacock Feathers Distress Ink here, and it came up in this little teeny tiny, kind of like the little fine spray of splatter here that's black. And when I did this and stamped, it was that fine, the peacock feathers. But look, it got moisture from this paper somehow. And the whole thing was dry when I started working on it, so I'm not sure how it got the moisture to do that. But you can see how the ink spread out. So it's really interesting. I'm going to move that. I don't want to overheat the white and the pink, acrylic paint. I don't want it to blister and bubble and splatter, because it'll do that. It'll turn into like a volcano with the big bits, and then actually it'll spit more of the paint out. I don't want to do that. I'm really loving how this is looking. I just want to move this real quick, let it finish drying. Not all the way. I just need to get rid of this extra paint that's here. I just dip in water and try to work out all that extra. And then I also have the pink on here. Just want to make sure I get that used up too. And the way I get more of the ink out is I get it wet. And that'll help work it out. And then this whole page I'll be able to work that extra ink in, so that it's not wasted, and then I just keep adding layers. And this is gesso, where the paint isn't covering it. It's gesso that's on here. I also have some sparkly glitter paint on here. And this doesn't look like much, but after layers and layers and layers, it'll make this paper thick. It'll obscure a lot of the background paint that I'm laying down. And then I'll be able to die cut it into shapes, or tear it up and collage it onto a project. And that way the acrylic paint is not being wasted, it's being used in some way. Okay. Now on this one I also wanted to do some black splatter. The contrast of the black is going to be awesome. There we go, and that's it. I'm not going to add any of the Caribbean, like I was going to try to do some other things, but this is enough going on right now. You can let me know what you think and give me a thumbs up. You can leave me a comment. If you would subscribe and click on the bell for notifications, and also click on the arrow and share, I'd appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. Have a blessed day.